I think I'll do it for this. I'll draw us Wolverine cutting out Robin's arm. I mean, can you do that? No, you can't. You can't do that and like charge for it. Like you can't put an ad on the podcast, right?
If it's parody, I mean,
like I couldn't do like Ronald McDonald getting gut shot by like the Burger King and shit, and then, like put a little copyright symbol in the corner. Like, take this, you son of a bitch.
I just wouldn't do that because of decency standards.
It's right. It's like, just put the comic book code on everything I draw and shit. It's like doo doo doo. Fucking. It's like my signature. Like, are those guys even the comic book code? Is that just like a group of old like men just like dying off in some fucking dusty like Freemason room and shit? Like fucking those damn kids.
You think it's one of those like old like fraternal order cults?
Like the Freemasons
pacts,
right? Well,
no, it's like a pact where the last one to live, last one alive gets like the copy of Action Comics #1 or something.
No, it'd have to be like the original hand-drawn one or something, or the last one alive can like use his sperm to create the next like army of I don't know. This one's gone off the rails. I don't know. Those damn comic code guys.
Here's a question: the guy that drew Action Comics #1.
Why doesn't he draw like 30 more and just like make himself rich?
What happened to the original?
Like the original print? You know? The big sheet, the black and white big sheet.
Well, the thing he drew on that they then, used.
Right. Yeah. That's a good question. I have it.
We should just start kicking indoors in like upstate New York or wherever.
Where is she?
Just kicking indoors.
Where is it? Where's the copy? Like a fucking Batman uniform. Fucking Batman and Wolverine. And fucking the one-armed Robin.
I saw a...
Like you ruined my sidekick, now you're my sidekick until we can get Reed Richards to sew his arm back on or some shit. Whatever, bub.
I saw like a who would win, Wolverine or Batman, and so of course it's just some guy and like some woman who like is obviously getting paid to talk about it,
Because no woman ever was ever interested in comic books ever.
Well, not. I mean, she wasn't wearing like no Sailor Moon shirt or nothing, right. If I recall, And I was, you hear like young women, college age or what have you, talking about X-Men and shit just because of the movies,
right?
Iron Man, and it's like that was going on when I was like in college,
Well,
they have the movies now.
On YouTube, I found her because of Game of Thrones, but it's a comic book girl, and she's got like millions of followers. Yeah, she's real hot, and knows all about. She's an exception, I think. Well, that's the thing though. Like, yeah, you're saying that more girls now and more younger women are getting into it. I believe that.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not saying these comic book girl types are like ugly. Like I thought comic book girls cute, and she seemed authentically into the stuff from this like the 5 minutes I saw. But even comic book girl kind of had that look, like I think she had pink hair or something. You know what I mean? Like this was a woman with like just long red hair, and I don't know.
Right. She's reading the teleprompter and shit, and you see her eyes going back and forth.
She was wearing a dress or something. I don't know.
You're not going to see her in a fucking LAN party with fucking sweatpants and a fucking...
Nice.
Fucking carpal tunnel fucking cast on one arm type. What is it? The fucking... I was watching a video of a artist. He was talking about carpal tunnel and what would you have to do. It's like if you're drawing digitally, is you have to sit upright. You have to have your hand off to the side. Don't bend your wrist, keep it straight, and you're drawing with your whole arm kind of thing.
tried
And I
it?
tried it, and it works, but it's like, man, it's just, you get so, like when I draw, I'm just like hunched over with like my fucking right hand all crimped up and like all fucking twisted, and like I'm hunched over, but I'm like looking up at the screen like a fucking Igor and shit, and like I'm leaning back in my chair, but I'm leaning forward, so it's just like this. It's like an S-shaped spine thing, you know. So like if I'll draw for like 8 hours straight, I'll just like the next day I'll just be all cramped up and shit. But it's just so hard to like get out of that, you know. Like you're just so used to doing something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's real hard. Hey, I'm thinking of quitting smoking.
Oh, you should, man. I was just thinking that when I said it's real hard to quit. It's like I don't think like
I'm psychic.
Like for those listening who don't know me, I was once hit by a train, and I gained these superpowers. And one of them was to stop smoking after a long time. It's like I was telling someone else that when my heart.
Did you step on a canary?
I covered the microphone so I wouldn't phlegm out. I don't know what the term for it is.
It sounded like the phone melting at the end of Failsafe.
But
Jeez.
oh, so to quit smoking, I was telling this one guy. I was like, he tried a couple times and he couldn't. It was like, you have to look at it like you're sick, and you're going to be sick for like a month. And it's like, you can't think of it like, oh, to cure this, I'll just have a cigarette. It's like you're sick. You don't smoke anymore. You're just sick now, and after a month you'll be fine. And after a year, the dreams will go away, where you dream of smoking. But now I could care less. Someone could hand me a pack of smokes and be like, here, man. These are good for you now. I don't care.
Nice. Well, that's great news, man.
Oh, it's so expensive now too. What is it, like $7? Well, it depends on where you are. Like New York, it's like
that's a big part of it.
You gotta fucking cut off a pinky or something just to get a fucking smoke out there. And God forbid someone sees you. You'll be like pointing at you like fucking Donald Sutherland in Invasion of the Body Snatchers and shit, like.
Nice.
Like the taxes are paying for your kids' tuition, you son of a bitch.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it's like smoking on my planet. You know.
I just keep thinking back to that Steven Dorff commercial. I love what Joe Rogan was saying when he was just showing the commercial. He's on the beach, like, I've been a smoker for 16 years. Like, don't tell me what to do, you sexy bitch.
It's like, I've been smoking since I was 13, you sexy bitch.
Like, yeah, but it's like fucking Steven Dorff. Did you ever see him? What's that?
He's got good company now because Jenny McCarthy.
Oh, she's pushing that now too?
Yeah, she's pushing it now too. And
nice.
She's not known for her scientific mind, you know.
Right.
She tells people to like not get their babies vaccinated.
Well, from like the little attention that I've ever paid that story, she was basing it off of some doctor report that was proved false or something.
Oh, well, I think too some of it is like, I'm a mother and a mother knows these things, and then...
Well, her kid is a special needs child, I think, who had autism or something. And so I think she was basing that off of that.
Yeah. The thing was I think it was the kid was re-diagnosed later, but, you know...
Oh, where he didn't have any...
Well, it wasn't autism, but it was like something else.
Right.
I don't even know, to tell you the truth.
Isn't she, well, whatever. Steven Dorff. These people are our food.
We're just gonna turn into, like, entertainment
fucking...
and just be like...
We're like, yes, this is...
in a city where...
This is Dr. Thundersnow, and today we'll be talking about liver cancer. It's like, and what steps to take to avoid cancer.
if like used to drive around a lot more because she lived over by the stadium, or I don't, whatever. But like, or we go to George Webb at night because you couldn't really eat at her place, and but John Tesh has this like late night radio show where like in between songs he cuts in and it's just like, these John Tesh words of wisdom, that he's just reading about health or this or that. And after a while it's like, stop telling me what to do, Tesh.
Nice. I've been a smoker for 16 years. Maybe we can get a sponsor. Like, sponsored by Marlboro cigarettes. Like, we're coming back in a strong way, baby. Did you imagine that? Like, do you think they allow that? Do you think Marlboro could sponsor us? Like, we'd probably get like $1 million per episode. Shit. No, have you ever considered giving your children a cigarette? The smooth, mellow flavor of a Victory Gold.
I know pretty much for a fact that like cigarette companies can't advertise anymore.
Well, I know they can't advertise like TV commercials or billboards or but the new media stuff, like they gotta take it out a whole new door. Like we gotta get in on this cash cow while we can, otherwise we'll be peddling fucking masturbatory aids. Like this show sponsored by the used panty vending machine factories out in Japan and shit,
As TV and movies become more responsible with not showing like everyone smoking, like we need to pick up the slack on the internet.
That's right. It created a huge void. Well, Steven Dorff's doing it. He's doing the ad with the fucking e-cigarette. Why not?
Well, see, the jerk.
Next, it just like sold out totally. Like the next podcast is like Thundersnow and Dangerman and Steven Dorff, this sexy bitch smoker on the beach. Like, hey kids, I'm enjoying a smooth e-cigarette right now. Call in for the e-cigarette decoder ring. It's like, smoke your Ovaltine. Like, hey kids.
The little orphan Annie people would be furious with us.
The secret decoder ring. The secret decoder e-cigarette. You have to like smoke it down to the butt to like decode it and shit. It's like, eat or drink your Ovaltine.
Just do voices like, I'm Daddy Warbucks and I smoke.
When I am little orphan Andy. When I smoke, Sandy coughs, but I don't give a shit because he's the fucking dog with no eye pupils. You son of a bitch.
Oh, man.
It calms my nerves. You see how many adventures I get into? Jesus Christ.
I got glaucoma. I'm smoking weed.
So...
Oh, man.
Steven Dorff. Did you ever see his prison movie?
No.
It's really good. I mean, it is what it is. It's a B movie and it's got Val Kilmer in it. Spoiler alert. And he basically he goes to jail, and he's fucking smoking these cigarettes. No, he goes to jail, and he's like, it's just, check it out. It's worth it watching it. But I just noticed he came out with there's like a sequel on demand. It's like, no kidding. He's like, he's out of jail now, and I'm like, you lost me. Like what? How could you top that? Like, oh, he was in jail. It was really interesting to see the whole dynamic play out. But now he's out of jail and he's free and he's happy. He's like walking on a beach smoking e-cigarettes and shit. He kind of really disappeared. Like he did the Gate, and then he did Blade, and as far as I'm concerned, that's all he did until he did this prison movie. Like, I'm sure he did other stuff, but I never saw him in anything. He's probably in a lot of chick flicks or something, like Lifetime.
Not the kind of stuff that you would just see from, like, not being huge into movies, just being a dude.
Right. A dude who likes cool movies. Yeah, you think, like, I was in Blade, can I be in your movie? Like, yeah, sure. It's like, no, he probably went off and did, like... Crying with Shakespeare or something. Like he's probably been in like, you know, Oscar-winning performances and we just never even seen him.
Have you seen Atlas Shrugged?
I saw the first one, yeah.
So the first one had a quality to it, you know. It was different, you know.
I didn't see the sequel.
So for this, well, it's on Netflix.
Right.
So I check it out, and they recast everyone.
Yeah.
And I think they did it to cut costs or something. I mean,
are the actors a little, not as good as the B-movie actors that were in the first one?
I'm gonna go with no. But it's just you're just so biased from seeing new actors. You know what I mean?
Right.
Plus, the production qualities are lower. Yeah, I mean the acting, maybe the script isn't great, but it's like none of the actors in the first one. Like I'm sure a bunch of them could have came back. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's not like there was like, you know, huge costs on that, but. The thing is for that first movie too, is maybe you had some people with, if not political views or just whatever, just kind of like, oh, you know, this might make some money, and that's kind of exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But after you know, I'm sure it didn't make a ton of money, and so now like you're going to lose a lot of momentum, I think, to get funding for the second one because you know it's not like this one's going to make big money.
Well, they just barely got funding for the first one, right? I thought that was a big deal.
I'd imagine.
Like, didn't Angelina Pitt, Bradgelina?
Yeah, there was a Pitchelina.
Brad. Angina. Fucking, yeah, they were gonna do it, but then they didn't. That would have been good. What was it?
Bradgelina? I don't know.
Like play the game with us at home with an e-cigarette. Sponsored by e-cigarette.
Just bust out with like chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I like Nestle's Crunch. Just eating them all loud.
Chocolate. Nestles, Nestle's makes the very best chocolate. Yeah, I wonder what the deal is if like we're quoting people now, like say this podcast takes off and we get like 1 million views.
All right.
Does like McDonald's take offense that we said that Ronald McDonald got shot by Burger King? You know, like are they like, what the fuck, man? You can't say that shit. Like who the fuck do you think you are? We've been on this planet before you were even born.
No, I highly doubt it.
Or is it like it's a great honor to it's a great honor to be mentioned on this prestigious podcast.
It's not like you drew a cartoon of it and like sold it on DVDs, or if you were like the guy who played, you know, the like wasn't Fred Willard the first Ronald McDonald?
Yeah. They offered him like, you know, like 25% of the company or some bullshit, or like a shot of heroin, and he chose wrong.
Yeah, like if we said like Fred Willard, like you know, I don't know.
If we said beep,
killed the king of Bulgaria.
He triggered World War I. Shot Archduke Ferdinand. And then he became the lovable Ronald McDonald. Well, I'm not sure where to segue from this. I think we're in a dark place right now. We're in a dark place, bub.
Super pissed.
Okay, I'm now recording again. There's just some lines you can't cross.
What happened?
I stopped recording. I started up again, and now I'll have to go out and edit that last bit.
Like you just like do a core dump.
Look, and now comes the time where we read off our social security card number. Use your e-cigarette decoder ring to find it.
You know, you could probably get sued if you did that. You remember that guy from LifeLock? He had a commercial where he had like his social security number on the side of a truck.
Right.
Well, I guess the thing is like I think he got sued because people would go to a car dealership or something. I'm kind of guessing, but people go, like, let's say a car dealership and rent a car with his identity. You know what I mean?
Right.
And since the car dealership doesn't use LifeLock, they don't.
It's like
they don't know that this fucking this jack off has splashing his number everywhere.
It's great. Okay, this is a nice car rental dealership you got here. It'd be a shame if you didn't have LifeLock. It'd be a shame if fucking a million people started showing up and destroying your business.
It'd be a shame if someone stole my identity. It's like walking into a place with like SARS and like sneezing until they give you a burger to leave and shit.
It's gotta have cheese. Hobo man. Now I'm not sure if we got that part that we lost the in memorandum of the first podcast that never was. We were talking about hobo.
I like. What do you think of the Iron Hobo?
Iron Hobo, nice. I don't know. That's kind of like Iron Man though.
Yeah,
but he's like his metal, bone, and steel fused together when the train hit him. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
I mean, you got hit by a fucking train. If someone comes at us and it's like, someone's like, oh, I have the Iron Hobo trademarked from like my amusement park since like 1983. Well, then we just back off on it.
Right.
But, barring that, I don't think there's a legal reason not to go with the Iron Hobo.
So what help me visualize it. Is he just like?
Oh, I don't. I think he's just a hobo.
It's like an iron hip because he got fucking hit by a train and shit. Like.
Yeah, it would just be a.
I'll never walk normal again. Some guy in his 30s who got hit by a train.
And survived.
And they call him Iron Hobo. And he's got no superpowers, but he's just like shows up and like stops crime.
I'd imagine there's fist fighting.
For a fucking ham sandwich.
He stops graft or something.
Right, he stops fucking. Some kid writing Kilroy was here on a bridge overpass. He's like, hey kid. Well, he's in his 30s. He'd have to be in his late 50s. Because you're not a hobo if you're in your 30s. You're like a fucking drifter then.
Well,
I mean, we have to have some authenticity to this if we're going to create a Iron Hobo.
Way I see it, the guy's probably was loaded in the 20s. You know what I mean?
Right. And then he lost it all on horse buggy whips or something. What time period is this?
Well, this is like the 30s. This is like the Great Depression.
Okay.
That's the golden age of hobos.
Yeah, the golden age. Like Sid Meier's hobos. The golden age of hobos. Could you imagine that? That'd be great. The hobo of the game.
Nice. Yes.
We should do that.
Call to arms.
It's called Action Kickstarter. Here we come. Projected goal $3 million.
Should we make it just an open source idea, like the hobo game?
No. We have to make some kind of money out of this. And we're breathing fucking CO2 out of our bodies doing this. We owe the planet some money in our pockets to help fix it.
Do you think there should be like a version of Kickstarter where you just say your idea for a game and then, you know,
Kickstealer? Some like rapper comes on and steals it.
Yeah. Well,
here's my latest song. Like, thanks, man. I'll use that in my fucking rap video.
Yeah. Well,
Chinks for nutchin'.
You go to the website and you tell them the idea for the game or the song or something.
Right.
And then people can put money on it, but the money goes to whoever eventually makes it. And it would be
kind of like the pneumatic tube railgun train idea that this eccentric billionaire had. The idea.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I have this great idea, now go make it. And it like made headline news. Like, man has idea, tells us to figure it out.
Which is like the billionaire equivalent of saying like you invented like Super Mario Brothers 2 and sent Nintendo all the ideas and they stole it from you. Like
right.
You were like 13 years old. You always had at least one friend who swore this up and down. That's like the billionaire version of that. In reverse, I don't know.
So it'd be a website, but I mean, isn't that the internet, where you just put an idea up and someone else steals it?
Oh yeah, it's a terrible idea, is what I'm saying. But still,
I like that terrible.
Then we could
terribleidea.com. I'll look that up before idea.com. Post your ideas here. After you sign this contract binding you to the agreement that any ideas posted here will be stolen by the purveyors of this website, part of the Only Bad News Network.
What if the idea could be stolen by anybody?
And it's up to Iron Hobo to stop him.
I had an idea for a website where
he gets like fucking carrier pigeon messages like someone stole my idea.
It'd be like priorart.com or something, because prior art, I think, like if you file for a patent but they can show prior art for your patent filing that like this idea already existed and was out there in the world, like that can help nullify a patent,
Right.
So I'm thinking, what if whenever anyone has an idea for like any kind of like software patent or something like that, they can go to this site and document that idea. And then if someone else comes along and has the same idea, because some of these ideas are kind of the same,
Right.
and tries to patent it to be a patent troll, well then later on the line someone can fight that patent by saying, well look, it's documented here that someone already had that idea, and in fact they published it openly, you know what I mean?
Right. But what will we get out of it?
We just put up ads and, make money off that. Make money on the flibbity flu.
What would happen if someone came along and said we had that idea first?
Oh, well, we're not actually
a victim of our own
stuff.
Our own designs.
We're not trying to patent anything. We're just trying to document that someone had an idea.
Right.
So the date when they post it would be on there. And then if someone's like, well, I patented that idea before someone marked it, it's like, well, that's fine, because the date on your patent predates the post date, So
instead of someone posting whatever they think on the internet, we'll just collect all of these people who I have a great idea, and they'll all just come to our website called terribleidea.com.
Well, no, I'm thinking stuff too where people could be like, because on a web page, if you're like, what if you can click the button? Like, what if you had an OK button that you could drag and drop, or double click it to click OK. Otherwise, it, for some reason,
Right.
What I mean?
Be able to play a video game while the loading screen is going on.
Yeah, people are doing it just to fight patent trolls, just to come up with as many ideas as possible.
Right. Well, and that's also patented. You can't play a video game, you can't play a mini game while the loading bar is going on, because some douchebag patented the idea.
I think that is expiring shortly, and One of the things with the patents too, the software patents, is they're relatively short. They're only like 9 years or something.
Really?
7. Well, that's the thing is, and that's why I'm not like more up in arms against it. Is just because, well, that's the thing. Like I think the like clicking a button that said buy, like that was patented, you know. But that was like, you know, someone patented that in the 90s or something. You know what I mean?
It like hampered the
So
it hampered the information revolution by like 9 years and shit. That's crazy.
So
I didn't realize it was that short of a time.
yeah, I mean they fight to stretch them out, the greedy fucks. Yeah, some of the stuff, like some certain shopping cart things, some of the real basic stuff, you know, those patents already expired, so that and the courts are starting to get, you know, you're starting to get judges that, you know, use computers.
Right.
That helps, you know.
The internet is a series of tubes and wires.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not dissing these older guys, but, you know, it's... You know, they don't use computers, you know.
Well, a lot of older people just refuse to also.
Well, you get to a point too, and I think there might be some weird mind mesh flux thing that like I'll be too crotchety to even try and use. That's, I'm sure, amazing.
Right.
I mean, I'd like to try some of the virtual reality type stuff that's coming, augmented reality.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it'd be like in the future, like they'll be like you have to like stick a needle in your arm and like extract a pint of blood to be able to do some whatever, you know, do some new computer type thing or some new, like you extract the blood and then you put it into a petri dish and they make a clone of you, and that's like the hot new thing, and your clone does all your work for you, and like we would be like shocked by that. Well, some of us would.
Yeah, see, we should play Eclipse Phase sometime, because it's right up that alley.
Eclipse Phase?
Yeah, Eclipse Phase. It's like, it's an RPG. Tabletop.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, I have the book. It's pretty sweet. You can get the PDF for free online. Like, they'll just give you the PDF. Figuring if you like the book, you'll just buy it, or you'll buy a supplement or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty cool of them.
Sorry, I just burped in my mouth.
Nice. It's getting late though. I was gonna try and get some few hours before this class tomorrow.
Cool, man. Well, I'll see what we can salvage from this discussion and put it together, and I'll probably just stick it up there and see what happens. I gotta get the what is it, the ID code and all that shit too, so.
Alright, I'll leave it in your capable hands.
And draw a picture of Wolverine cutting off Robin's arm. Could I do that under satire? I mean, that's what it is, right? It's not like I'm being serious and shit. Like, I'm real serious about this.
Yeah.
I want this to happen.
Well, trademark stuff is you're safer, I think, under parody.
Right.
So if it's instead of Wolverine, it's like, you know, something kind of like, you know what I mean? And instead of Robin, it's
Bluebird.
That's why, like in South Park, like you'll see like the Legion of Doom, or maybe it's Family Guy. I don't know. Yeah, there's when you'll see Dr. Doom, but he's wearing like purple. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like if you change it up a little bit, then it's like it's not really worth it for them.
Well, see, I mean, they might just pay him off. Be like, hey, we're going to use this. Can we pay you? You know?
Well, I don't know if you want to have to deal with both Marvel and DC to show a drawing.
Right, like
Wolverine,
DC's like, hey, you gotta have like Batman fucking shooting Cyclops' dick off or something if you're gonna cut off Robin's arm, you know, like you gotta have some kind of like mutual understanding here.
You know what's crazy is Superman is like under like normal trademarks, like that shit would have expired, but it's like you can get like exemptions on that shit. Like if you're like Mickey Mouse or Coca-Cola or like Superman. But that's crazy. You think of it, like Superman and Batman have been around for so long that like
the 100 years trademark.
It hasn't been 100 years. I'd say around 1937, 38.
It's getting up there.
Yeah, but that's one thing I did a few doodles for, was like if you did like a Batman story but like set in like the 30s, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think they may have done that once even.
I've got a book of the Batman Robin. They used to do a comic strip. It was the same time of Dick Tracy. And they're pretty bland.
I remember that.
Pretty bland.
I remember that, yeah.
But the Joker appears in it, and he looks real creepy. But it didn't do very good.
Mm-hmm.
It did good enough, but it wasn't like a smash hit or nothing.
I remember reading through that book, and I think they were saying how like some guy that collected them all his life had a bunch of them, and so he brought them into the publishing house or something, and then they had to like some of them they had to fix them up.
Right.
They were all faded or something, you know, so they kind of would.
That's cool. That guy had to feel like $1 million right there. It's like, oh, you know, I saved this.
Yeah, maybe
I saved the Doctor Who's from the BBC furnace and shit. So.
Oh, there was like a month or so ago. There was like a rumor, and it was like I forget the numbers, but it was insane. It was like maybe 3,000 BBC films, you know.
We're tossed in the furnace.
Well, no, this was more recently. A guy was claiming that he had like copies of like thousands of old BBC film, and I think one of the claims was like it was like 120 episodes of Doctor Who's that were like, you know, at this point are considered like missing, you know.
Oh, awesome! Well, now for people listening, the BBC used to. Why don't you tell the story? Because you told me.
Oh well, I mean, I'd want to research it before I did a news thing out of it. Basically,
yeah, the BBC would like shoot its employees in the basement and toss them in the furnace and shit. It's like
nice.
Like pity.
Yeah, they moved or something, and then they just tossed out a bunch of that old stuff.
They would just like shovel the fucking old films and put them into the furnace and shit, right? And so like all the first Doctor Who's are pretty much all burnt up in a fiery pit somewhere.
Well, that's how people envision it. I wonder if you dispose of film that way, just because.
When you told me that story, I just pictured like these fucking guys wearing overalls shoveling fucking VCR tapes into this fucking giant furnace that you'd see in like a fucking Dungeons and Dragons movie and shit with like some fucking dwarves, you know, like quickly into the fire.
Like the end of Citizen Kane or something.
Right, exactly.
Well, you know, isn't film like really flammable though too?
It used to be.
Back in the day, sure.
Well, that's like in the old reel-to-reels, like they'd stop it on the thing and like the picture would burn out because like the light from the shining through the film would burn it. Right. I'm just thinking back to like.
Yeah.
Chinatown or like some movie that would show that happening.
Sure.
And you never see him go like, "Oh my God, it's on fire!" You know, like you're burning it.
You're burning a frame. What are you doing?
Oh, just the disappointment, I'd suppose.
Just like really sad. Oh. That's why we don't make movies.
I guess not. I gotta get going. I gotta
Cool, man.
Alright, I'll see you, Thunder.
Alright, see you later, Danger Man.